Mate, what the hell is going on? So this is a live special from Anthropy, day 3, and I feel like, well, we just divided and conquered, haven't we? This is probably the first time we've sat down in 3 days, which has been amazing. So, just kind of, Anthropy is all about, 30 years from now. What's the quality of life that we expect for an individual living in Britain 30 years from now? And then at a place level, so infrastructure, what does the infrastructure need to look like to enable that quality of life? And then what does an economy need to look like to enable all of that? With a global perspective, what message do we want to send out to the globe as a nation? How have you found it so far, mate?
It's been a bit of a whirlwind, but like this environment is just incredible. Like to learn, I don't know. I feel like just even the amount of plants in the environment, you just think differently. But I've been cementing myself in rooms where young voices are there, and all around inspiration, youth voice, and actually putting young people in the big rooms to make decisions. So it's been really inspiring for me to listen to other young people speak. I'm literally in awe, and some of the young people that we're gonna bring to the Curious Corner next year, engage with podcasts that we're doing, events that we're gonna do. It's just literally, I'm so inspired, and I'm just kind of taken back, if I'm honest. But yeah, for me, day one, my biggest insight from day one is around if a young person is when I say qualified, as in as a character, as a human, to be in a room, just put them in the room. And then from yesterday, my biggest insight was just be curious. There was just an hour where it just went 0 to 100. I went to a few talks and I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna go about my camera. So I door stopped the person that actually created all of this in his mind. Sir Tim Smith. He obviously from here we'll clip it in. What he said about what gives him. What he's curious about for 2023. So yeah, the three main questions that I've been asking people is, what are you curious about for 2023? What is your greatest challenge for you personally and for your industry at the moment? And 2, what is your commitment to young people? So I've had a real interesting mix of answers from those questions, from people that are 18, people that are 40, people that are 60. So it's just been really interesting to have conversations. I just think from this experience, just go and say hello to people. Just go say all right, how's your day? Because the first thing for me, I came out my first talk in the rainforest, was walking to the other building, just said to someone, oh, you're right, how's your day going? Turned around to me, we started talking about what we do. They said, I work for EY. I was like, what's EY? And they laughed at me. I was like, why are you laughing? And they're like, you're kidding, aren't you? I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, EY, we employ 360,000 people. I was like, I've never heard of you. And then they literally just said, oh, we're so glad you asked that question. Because internally, they think everyone knows who they are. So then from there, that sparked a conversation, and we're rolling with it. So, yeah, interesting.
Nice. Yeah, I mean that's amazing, and it doesn't surprise me. I've been. Well, firstly, I'm just proud of you, mate, because I've been saying to you for a while. You need to be in the rooms.
Yeah.
We talk about young people being. You are one of the young people that are in the room, and you're here at this space, and you're using every moment to connect with different people your own age, people different ages, like you said, and you're asking the right questions, and that's what they want. That's what I want. I want young people to come through Curious Entrepreneurs, feel inspired to be able to come to a place like this, not be intimidated. Doesn't matter who these people are. I had a really interesting session on day 1, so I've had a different experience, I suppose, because I haven't had much of an opportunity to just embrace the day. Today's a bit different. I've got a bit more time. I'm a panelist on one of the sessions today, but other than that, I can get to kind of flow and enjoy it a little bit more. But I've been really focused. But some of those sessions, the first day I had a Chatham House rules conversation behind closed doors, and so I can't tell you about it because it's Chatham House. But what I can say is that the outcomes and the outputs are replicating what you're saying. everyone's talking about how do we enable youth, how do we enable the next generation to help themselves, and what can we do as my generation and above to lay the path, to say, well, look, you know what, we're going to ask you the questions. I want to see young people. You should be on stage. Young people here should all be on stage, and for their own agendas, not our agendas. So we've seen a lot of young people on stage. I don't think that's been an issue at all. I think they've done well to embrace that. I had some phenomenal. I've had great conversations whilst on stage with young people. I think about Meg and Anthony in particular. I mean, wow. But I'm quite excited for next year, because there's going to be a next year, I'm sure of it. Yeah. So one of the things that came out of that session yesterday, my favourite bit, wasn't actually from anyone who was there officially. It was a 72-year-old lady who was listening in because she was just working at the project, and we'll cut the clip in. And I thought, everyone we've kind of exchanged conversations, whatever, everyone's dispersed. And I was just kind of packing down, making some notes. And I saw her look at me. I said, "Excuse me." I said, "What did you think of that?" Because you were the only person in this whole project that got to listen in on a very kind of exclusive conversation. What did you think? And she was just amazing. She was just saying that for years she just didn't realise as a citizen that these conversations happen. I think a lot of people will make assumptions around what sort of conversations happen behind closed doors, but to know that's the conversation that replicates to what the responses you're getting, that's exactly the conversation behind closed doors. So that's been cool. I'm in love with Dame Julia Clevenden. I am in love with this woman. I just think she's the most incredible woman. I've gravitated to her since I met her at Coots event recently. And listening to her speak so passionately, and she's just a firecracker. I mean, wow, she's got so much energy. And, what she's achieved over in Blackpool, they call it Silicon Sands now, is a real inspiration for what we're trying to achieve in St Neots. So we're looking to do something. We maybe go visit her in Blackpool. Would be nice. She's making all these really meaningful connections. She's very direct with her connections. Like, you've got to speak to. Right, have you spoken to Alex yet? No, not yet. Right, well, get over here now. You listen to this young man, and it's just fantastic, and I think that's wonderful. So we're seeing it in the behaviour, not just the words. Yeah. So in between the talks and everything else, you're seeing it in that behaviour. Yeah. So I'm massively enthused, like you. Confident that the change is going to come. Yeah. And like last night, so kind of round off my experience so far. Last night I went to the kind of we had a dinner in the Mediterranean biome. I don't even know what to say about that. Like, just the setting. Yeah. You were talking about the nature and stuff. So that was the setting for the conversation last night for probably about 100, 150 people that were here. And a conversation again, listening to John, tell his vision again in that setting, reaffirming why we're here, reaffirming that the change is coming, and this manifesto that's going to be produced off the back of this event will be put in the right hands, in line with our Parliament's budgets. Say, hey, we'll look at who's here, look what we're informing you. Listen, this is what we need from our Parliament, from our government. So I'm intrigued to see what happens there. So I've got a question for you, Sam, on the back of this. So you're obviously engaged with all these lots of young people here. What have you? Well, I'll ask you the same question. Off the back of all of this, and you might not be able to comprehend it yet, but what are you most curious about for 2023 after this experience?
Okay. Yeah, it's actually nice to get asked the question.
You never get asked.
Yeah, I know. I think what you say around action, I'm curious about what action's going to be taken and how that starts. Because I don't know, I feel the energy in this space right now. It's not. I've been to events before, and it sometimes it is a bit wishy-washy, and you just feel like, is it going to happen? But I do feel like with the powerhouses in the room, like the people that you're talking about, I do feel like it will happen and change is going to come. So, and I'll speak for the young people as well with the conversations I've had. The thing they're talking about most is, where's the action at? And that's all they care about. Where is the action? Both for them to be put in a room, but also just from other rooms that are talking about other topics. So for me, what I'm most curious about is when's the action going to happen, and how will the snowball start rolling.
Nice.
But I guess the biggest challenge, again, if we're gonna, right, what's the biggest challenge that what's the biggest challenge I'm gonna face from this experience is breaking down systems and breaking down doors for those actions to happen and actually create proper change. So I think I generally think from the trend that I've seen is it's a mindset thing, both within people in the systems that aren't working and also people that are here to shift mindsets. And then from there, we need to implement habits of consistent action to break down doors, because it's not going to be easy. And then, like, my commitment is just to keep ploughing along, like moving the needle every day, no matter how big or small that movement is. Just keep making it happen. And I just think if we're all balls of energy, and if we, like, again, we've collectively come together in this amazing space to have amazing conversations with the intention of putting action behind it. And if you think about the amount of energy we can create all as one, and then, like, it's almost like a little mini explosion, like boom, and we're going to go back to our places where we live. And I think next year is really exciting. Like, my vision for next year here is we're not talking about awareness. We're talking about, right, we've done this, and we plan to do this. Yeah. So
Nice.
I don't know. I see this as like a journey, like, going forward. So I was really curious about it.
Nice. So for me then, what I'm most curious about in 2023, I think I'm with you. I'm 100% aligned, which is important for us. It's action. Where's the action at? I've had enough of talking. I've been part of the talking for years, both at a local level and now into a national level. Brilliant. Let's keep talking, but there's got to be action.
Yeah.
We've got to see actual change. We're living in a time right now where, this morning, base rate interest gone up by 0.75, the highest in 40 years almost. Massive economic crisis, massive challenges. We need to activate our communities, and we've got to find ways to do so in a meaningful way, both across third sector, public sector, private sector, communities, citizens. How do we activate? So I'm curious to see the community initiatives that do activate and that are successful, because they are the examples for next year. Biggest challenge around that is exactly as you describe it. Is what are the system changes that need to happen. I think personally my biggest challenge in all of this is actually finding the right partners. Finding we'll mention names, and we've mentioned some names, but actually, what commitment do they have to the action? So I think we've got to be really clear over the next kind of month, as we kind of round up the year almost, coming towards the end of the year. Right, what is that action? We know we're going to go inspire 10,000 young people. That's exactly what we're going to do. And the 100 people that come into our Curious Entrepreneurs program and we support them, we're going to have a 100% success rate with those people. I'm certain of those two things. Who is going to come along that journey to add more value? I don't want to talk about getting to 100%. We're going to do 100%. We've got the commitment, we've got the team, we've got the right people already involved in the project to fulfill our mission. I want to talk about 101%, 102%, 120%, because we need to over-deliver for the young people. We know that the people we've met here and the people we've met through this process and the people we're already engaging with locally, if they really engage, if they really get involved in what we're doing and take some action, we can go from 100% to 200%, because we have to swing it. Yeah. We have to push we're already pushing the needle and it's shaking. Yeah. We need a bulldozer to come through and do that, and I think our partners will do that. So there's that, and my personal commitment to that is unwavering kindness and support and trust of the people that come on that journey with us. That for me is something that I've embraced much more. I used to have to be a hard bastard to get shit done, and sometimes I have to wear that hat. But actually, in this world and where we're moving into, I believe that the support and the action will gravitate towards kindness and trust. So I want to make sure that we are kind to ourselves, kind to those that we're engaging with, and then trust in ourselves and trust in each other to deliver on the change required, and then trust in the support around us to do that with us. So yeah, I'm buzzing, mate. Well, look, Sam, I can't believe we're doing this live from the Eden Project. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So you're going to see, you know, this when this goes out, you will have seen some of the content coming through it. Check out some of the articles that are coming out of Anthropy. Check out some of the partnerships that are going to be announced off the back of all of this. Yeah. We look forward to going into 2023. This is almost there'll only be 1 or 2 project update meetings or project update episodes between now and the end of the year. Yeah. So, you know, I almost want to say 2023, here we come.
Yeah. I've got one more question. If you could sum up Anthropy in 3 words, what would it be?
Oh wow. Incredible realization, damn it, of, I get away with of?
Go on, you're an entrepreneur, you better bounce.
Okay, fine. Of action. Incredible realization of action. There are things happening on the ground and around this country that you don't even realize, and I realize them here, and I'm connecting with them, and it's wonderful. What about you? 3 words. We'll put it back on you now.
Change is coming.
Boom. Enjoy.